opinion, is the best new car you can buy for the value, for the money, for the everything. So before we get to that, we're going to go generation by generation from Gen 1 to the current generation, 2024, the brand new one, to see over time how it evolved and how it became the best in my opinion. Starting off with 2000, in 1997, the Subaru Impreza came out. It was a smaller vehicle. Subaru was aiming at younger buyers after the 90s, with the success of the Legacy and, of course, the upcoming success of the Baja. Very exciting for them to be launching this new vehicle, right? Now, these first three generations, I'm just going to kind of dance over a little bit, just because they're not truly important to what we're talking about today. These were all very competitive, but it was a very different thing, and I don't even have records on these vehicles, which means I don't know their stats. I can't compare them. So we're just going to skip through the first two generations. This is what they both look like. This is the iconic WRX that you iconically see. This one was from 2002 through 2007. For 2000, and the next one, I am so confusing today. In 2002, it was updated, and then in 2008, it was replaced with the third generation. This is the generation that we're going to pick off on. So this was the first one that is actually competitive, in my opinion, with the other car companies. We can see it's a manual or an automatic, and it comes standard with a all-wheel drive system, which is great. It either comes in a hatchback or a regular sedan. In the hatchback variant, there's also an Impreza Outback Sport, which you could buy, which was some extra features added. Base, you got a radio and single zone climate control as well as a manual, but if you optioned it up a bit, you could get a navigation package. It was very good, right? Here's the manual, we can see it here. Fun, Subaru's really trying to sell it. A very nice interior. These cars are just amazing if you just need some cheap transportation. They tend to work out really, really well. You can see all-wheel drive. They're really, really pushing it. All-wheel drive was a big thing back then, right? Only like your parents' car and maybe your grandparents', truck had all-wheel drive. It was a very new thing, especially on smaller cars of this age and budget, especially as standard. So that was its biggest selling point. You can see very nice engine. Wow, my computer is just freaking out here. Wow, you can see nice engine, everything Subaru boxer engine, very reliable, they always have been. You can see they're leaning into the sportier side, and it's also more 1000Z, blurpy, Sorry, it just started pouring raining. Cartoony styling, way that it was designed. And then, of course, you've got the Subaru Impreza Outback Sport here. Very nice vehicle. Just great if you needed to drive. They were amazing driving vehicles. And yes, so let's go on to the car comparison. We've got the 2008 Subaru Impreza, the 2008 Corolla, and of course the Civic. These two are going to be its competitors for the rest of the video. Now we can see the Subaru Impreza is the most expensive, with the Corolla and Civic comparing, Corolla being the cheapest, Honda Civic being best at $14,000, and the Subaru being right in the middle, but also the most expensive. We can see the Honda had the best rating because it was obviously the best. This had a gas flat 4-cylinder, the rest had I4-cylinder. This one, of course, got 2027 because, remember, it's got that that all-wheel drive system, which is not very good on gas. 2837 and 2634, respectively, for the Toyota Corolla and Honda. Now, where horsepower comes in, this had the most horsepower with the really nice Subaru boxer engine used in a lot of cars and that all-wheel drive. This is really where this one kind of went ahead. The Toyota Corolla was very weak at 126 horsepower. Not weak, but average. And the Honda was slightly more than average at 140 horsepower. 5 seating capacity and all the same warranty. So yeah, you can already see it's competitive, but it's not amazing. That would change in 2012. When they would give it modern styling, they would give it a much better interior. The past interior was I didn't like it for some reason. It was on the Forester as well. It felt, in my opinion, when I drove it recently, very cheap and plasticky and elasticy, and I didn't like that. I didn't appreciate that feel in the car. My grandmother actually owned one of these for a decent while, and yeah, it was great. She loved it. It was a very simple, basic car, but it worked and drove her to church and, where she needed to go. So let's look at the pamphlet for that. We can see, oh, this one's a lot smoother. What they were trying to aim here, very nice fog lights. They're aiming more into the adventure side, which is what I always was kind of upset that they didn't do early on learning about Subaru. they has always kind of, in the beginning leaned into the adventure, especially with the first generation side of things. It's like a mini Outback you can take everywhere, right? That's kind of how they were marketing it. And then in 2011, it was one of the best generations because it was the most competitive, but one of the worst because it didn't take care of one of its key assets, which is that it was off-roadable. It was good, it handled well, and most importantly, it had all-wheel drive. I mean, they had the Impreza Outback Sport, which was the Crosstrek before the Crosstrek, and had been on all previous models, but other than that, they were really trying to make it a road car and compete with the Civic and Corolla, but they did not lean into that all-wheel drive, go-anywhere capacity that it had. In 2012, they really tried to lean into that as much as they could, take care of that marketing opportunity, but still leave it normal-looking-ish to not fend off your average buyer. Like I said, nice interior, nice everything, great in the snow. Very nice vehicle, and then you can see the trim levels and everything down here. Now, when it comes to comparison, we can see here that the 2012 started off at 17, Corolla started off at 16, and Civic started off at 15. This was a whole different bag of chips now. The Civic was the cheapest, the Corolla was in the middle, the Subaru was once again the most expensive, but also the nicest. We can see the lowest consumer rating. Unfortunately, I love the 2012. It's my personal favorite generation, but at the lowest rating is it had some reliability issues. Not some, just a few. Not like any that you should be concerned about. It's a Japanese hatchback, which is pretty good, reliable, right? Compared to the others, which had higher 0.5 or 0.6 more points for the Corolla and Honda, respectively, of course. Here's where it really got good. They started to figure out how to get that city and highway miles per gallon out of that all-wheel drive engine. What they really did is they toned down the engine. They just made the engine very, very, very small compared to what it did, tuned it to be more efficient, and that's how they got 25-34. This was really great because that all-wheel drive system wasn't only comparable in that you can go anywhere and go adventuring, but it was comparable with gas mileage as well, which is really amazing to think about. And again, it was still the most powerful, but by 8 horsepower. Then the Corolla was the worst. This was a bad year for the Corolla. I mean, it was okay, but it was fine. The rest of it, you can tell the Impreza is getting up there, right? The next generation is, of course, the 2017 to 2023. I love this. This is probably my favorite looking generation. You can see that they are very nice. The Swish, I like the big open front grille. I think it's very, very classy. You've got the nice cloth interior. You've got that very strong, I always love the wheels when they look like this with the diamond cut on the side. The Civic did that. I thought that was very classy and just very upscale of them to do that. And again, very wide grille, very, very nice. Roof racks, great. Look at the manual for that. Should be less of a relic. Oh yeah, that's much better. You can see they're leaning into the sport aspects of it more a little bit because, the WRX, of course, by this point in time, this was 4 years ago, was, again, very popular. You can see that. Very nice interior. Dual screens, which I always appreciated on Subaru. I feel like the separation of screens is pretty needed. Nowadays, they have one gigantic screen and then nothing else, which is bad, right? This should be your infotainment clicky screen. That should be your blatant temperature control and information thing, and then that should be your eyes-on temperature, things that you need to control from your steering wheel screen. They're really leaning into safety here, as if it's not a Subaru, it's safe. That's kind of what they were leaning into. So it's safe and sporty, again, not really as adventurous. We can see, now it was the best. It was the cheapest. It, of course, had all-wheel drive. It got some of the best gas mileage out of the three, and it had, again, actually, no, it had the middle horsepower engine. I forgot about it, yeah. So the Honda had the most powerful engine. The Honda was really good, but the Honda sucked. The Honda sucked real bad. Because, first of all, it was hideous. It was ugly, hideous design. It was the most expensive out of all three cars, which meant it really wasn't competitive if you were just trying to get the cheapest car. And, it was okay. It was better than the three, which means it was kind of out of its class. The Civic has always been kind of out of the other two's class. Not in a good way, but like in a, wow, this is really turning into the Accord fast, and the Accord's turning into like a Avalon sort type deal. And you can see here, this was the cheapest. It had all-wheel drive. It was obviously the best. Amazing. 2024, it's continued that legacy. Funny enough, Subaru legacy. 22,000, right up there with the rest. Honda Civic, still the most expensive and still the worst option. You can see 4.8 consumer rating. With some help from parts from Toyota, it's looking a lot better now. All-wheel drive is standard, something that the other two cannot even talk about. They're not even at the table for this bit, right? And the second most, no. Ooh, the least powerful engine, which is pretty interesting. So in celebration of this, I will be building mine. I'm not going to buy one, of course. Why would I buy one for a car? But I'm going to be building it just to show you how you want to kind of do it. And there's a little bit of a trick to it. So we're going to build our vehicle here. Build it. Now we want to go for the base model. Trust me. Go for the base model. It's the only one that's not sporty. So I'm going to go for a red here. And for the black, I'll stick with the cloth. Now, you may be thinking, wow, this is shitty. Again, 2 touchscreens. It's more than fine. Good setup. It's just basic and fine and normal. Now, what I was going to show you here, I would just get the base model and do this. Get the alloy wheels. It makes the car look so much nicer, so much more fancier. But I personally would do that usually, but this is a YouTube video, so I've got to build the popular one, which is, of course, the Sport. There's always been a Sport model. The Sport model has always been great. It's a mini WRX. It's a mini WRX you can take with you. In this case, I'm going to get a dark blue because I think it contrasts nice with all the chrome, and the black Sport cloth with heat. Nope, not heated. Wow, that's really sad. Get the cross track anyway, but yeah, still, optional package. We don't need that. Most popular, let's get that wireless charger and auto-dimming mirror with compass. The rest of it, oh yeah, cargo tray, we need that. All the other floor liners, we need that. First aid kit, yeah. I hate it when I go through the packages, because I just click all of them. See, look through all of them, and I didn't pick that many. So again, $27,000, very competitive, very nice car, all-wheel drive, of course. CVT, very reliable. So with that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you soon.